Alex Abedi has had a nearly perfect debut for Pudgy's Racing. A P2 in Scotland and a win last week in England, the Thai driver's closest competition in points is his teammate, Savian Ragster. The California native is continuing to search for his first win in NASA. After a dismal race for French-Canadian Francois Martel, who got disqualified with no points after not following the race procedure, he hopes to regain his momentum and go for yet another victory. Behind the Pudgy's cars, a legendary name has been rebranded and returned, and former title rivals are now teammates, but more on that later. What will happen in hell? We'll find out together tonight. The Norwegian Grand Prix is next. Our venue for this evening is Virtual Lonkbahn, opened in 1987. North American Simulated Auto Racing started visiting this circuit in 2020A. 0.63 miles in length with 7 corners in total, 4 to the right and 3 to the left. We utilize the short version of this layout, which isn't short at all, and it's kind of interesting. We bypass normal turn 1 to enter what is regularly the Joker, and we'll look for plenty of action here. Across the dirt, which is super bumpy, to turn number 2, down the hill through 3 and 4. We'll watch our drivers search for the precious inside curve to get grip through that entire corner. The Joker decision is next. It's a fully asphalt on driver's left, the regular course driver's right, up the hill to the right and to the left. Not too much of a delta here, but merge is very tricky. Just ask myself and Bryan Sawyer. Around the final corner of turn 7, over the start-finish jump, and that completes a lap here in Norway. Our format for NASA Rallycross is as follows. 19 cars will be split into 4 heat races, 6 laps apiece, Joker lap once. Top 2 will transfer, winner gets 3 bonus points, and the runner-up gets 2. Rest of our competitors will be funneled into the semifinals. 5 laps, Joker once, the winners receive a bonus point. This will set the grid for the 10-car, 10-lap feature race where the points are awarded and trophies are handed out. Unique to NASA Rallycross, 2 Jokers are taken during the feature. The 28th season of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge continues tonight on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer in the production truck, 5-time series champion Philip Kraus next to me in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz as we welcome you to the Norwegian Grand Prix. Our series is brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, visit osscenter.com. Thank you so much to Rob Hartland for your continued support of NASA Sim Racing. Our coverage all season brought to you by NordVPN. If you're worried about hackers stealing your personal information or being tracked online, NordVPN is here to keep you safe with military-grade encryption and advanced security features. It'll keep your browsing activity and personal data completely private with over 5,500 servers in 59 countries, and as a result, you can enjoy fast and secure internet access from anywhere in the world. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. You can try it risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. Visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA for up to 63% off a 2-year plan. Our cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abedi. Phil, speaking of Alex, P2 and then P1, Francois got penalized. Abedi is 15 points ahead of Ragster in the championship. How are you, and what are your thoughts?
It's kind of a flip on its head from last season for Abedi because last season he was the one with the unfortunate luck. Obviously, he was teammates with Francois Martel then, but now he has the advantage that Francois had last season, so we'll have to see if he's able to maintain it or it'll get a little bit more chaotic as the season goes on like we saw last time around.
As qualifying about to begin, we'll take a look really quickly at the Drivers' Championship. Alex Abedi, 51 points. Savian Ragster, 36. Matt Hartley, Magnus Okenhaug, 34, 33. And Francois Martel with 28. Sportsman Cup, Matt Grove holds that blue plate by 9 points over Matt Morris. Vinny Sowers, Benjamin Gay are tied. And then Jake Robichaux, Wetz, and Rakowski all tied for the 5th spot. The Teams Championship, Pudgy's Racing 86, Slapex 46, KES Racing 40, and the new/old returning team, used to be MRT, now JC Simsport in Supercars once again, will be the 4th team in that championship. Subaru holds the Constructors Championship by 9 points over Ford, and I feel bad because I'm basically tooting our own horn here, but 73 wins, leading in the team's championship for championships and wins. And I somehow snagged Hartley and Okenhaug to be teammates, former title rivals. What'd you think for that?
It doesn't sound as cool as MLT, though.
It doesn't.
But,
no.
Yeah, they'll be a strong pairing, but it's going to be hard to compare to a Betty, Francois. Like, they're there, but they got to make that extra little step if they want to fight a Betty over a season, I think.
As we ride on board the tie driver in car number 99, beginning his first lap, or his warm-up lap. As Hell's an interesting track. Ran it yesterday in the lights. You'll see that on Friday. They have basically 2 warm-up laps before we get going, as I think Abetti's on his second one. Francois has started his lap in car number 12. At least I'm able to focus on the French-Canadian. He is not teammates with anybody, running by himself with TWR Fiesta Siesta. So trying to prove that the Ford is just as good of a platform as the Subaru. Rounding turn 2, down 3, into 4, all the way on the curb. And this curb, super important in turn 4, Phil. Basically coated as asphalt, I think, in the sim. You rip that corner if you get it right.
Yeah, it's the make-or-break corner on this track. It seems like a lot of the Rallycross tracks and iRacing have that make-or-break corner, and that's the make-or-break corner of hell.
As apparently trading paints for everyone, it might be broken. So yes, Magnus is in the correct paint. And yes, over the off-season, Phil, he changed license to Thai instead of German. So welcome to NASA Rallycross, where stuff changes in an instant. As times are beginning to unravel, Martel, speaking of the French-Canadian, at the top of the table by 0.2 of a second over Magnus Okenhaug, Josh Klog, Cody Kraus. It's 0.5 back now. It's Ragster in 4th as laps begin to file in. Martel holding that gap. Let's try and find him in the 12. He's going over the final couple of corners, 6 into 7. Potentially running the sand. Let's see if he does. He does not. The sand usually is grippier. 40.0 again. Klog has gotten up to the top of the board compared to Magnus. They are tied at a 40.2. Alex 40.3, still 0.4 higher than Crosgrove. Now matches Alex. As we ride on board Evan McFarlane, we forget about him, one of the fastest guys here. He crosses the line, and it didn't count. I think he might have gotten a couple of off tracks here, Phil. He's got 1 lap to do it.
Yeah, and that's going to be a very stressful lap for Evan. It's pretty easy to get these off tracks here, Josh. I know I haven't ran the track in a while. He runs it a little bit wide through turn 2 there. But it looks like he'll be able to keep it together. And this is the all-important turn 4. This is where you get your off tracks and slowdowns too. Because if you cut that curb just a little bit too much.
Oh, if he gets a good lap out of that, that's going to be crazy. Because that was wild. Oh, into the wall!
There's the contact.
Commentator's curse. And we might be seeing...
Does he have another lap?
He have another lap? No, it says lap 3. That's his checkered flag, and Evan McFarlane will be gridding last in Norway.
Matt Hartley also hasn't set a lap, Josh.
Hartley crosses the line to begin his 3rd lap. Francois, 39.9 for the French-Canadian. Only car in that bracket. Then it's Alex Abetti, Ragster, Okenhaug, Klog, the remaining bit of the top 5. Let's take a look at Hartley, 2020A champion of the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Through turn 3. Down to turn 4. Missed the apex a little bit, but I would take a banker lap. And it's not because he's my car. I would take a banker lap instead of trying to go for P1.
Yeah, but if you take a banker lap, you're basically saying I don't want to qualify in the top 6 because that bunch are so close. He'll probably get 7th at best with a banker, I think, Josh.
Better than qualifying 20th with McFarlane is 40.899 for Hartley.
Put him 9th, I think, 8th.
Which that still should give him 2nd place in heat number 1 if my math is correct. So we'll see how that splits here shortly. But that's qualifying done and dusted. Francois Martel ahead of former teammate Alex Abetti, saving Ragster. Keeping up with his champion teammate Abetti there in the 91 against the 99. But we take a look at the grid for heat number 1. Francois Martel on pole position. Josh Klog in the 199, defending champion. Jake Robichaux, Justin Ament, and Eric Dubois. And this track, different than the regular layout in Hell in Norway here, because like I mentioned, we take the Joker, what would be the Joker, as turn 1 every single lap.
Yeah, start's definitely a lot more hectic here, Josh. And something we haven't mentioned about one of our Joshes. How do you feel about Josh running the 199 instead of the 1 this season?
Oh, you know how that makes me feel. That irritates me every single... I respect it. But deep down inside, it bothers me. 3 Subarus, 2 Fords for heat number 1 here in Norway. Green flag. Off the line, Jake Robichaux gets a better start than the 2 on the inside. Clog's going to beat him down to turn 1. Martel on the curb. 3 wide into turn 1. Robichaux pushed to the outside. Martel checks Clog in the 199, and Martel takes the lead. Ahead of Clog. To the inside, he looked, couldn't make anything happen. Jake Robichaux sits in 3rd in the 69, then it's Ament with Dubois in 5th. Down to turn 4 for the first time. Multiple lines like we've talked about, but you have to get to that curb. Clog hit it a little bit better. Let's see Joker rotation on this first lap. Martel takes it, so does Robichaux. Dubois does not. So now there's really no delta. Keep an eye on the merge.
Watch the merge.
Comes out in front of Clog. And at the end of the first lap, Phil, Martel pulling away.
And the Joker merge, as you mentioned in the pre-race show, already showing it's just as hectic as every other rallycross track we seem to run in Europe, Josh. Seems like all of them are a lot tighter than their North American counterparts.
Contact with Jake Robichaux and Eric Dubois in the back of the field. Such a tricky turn 1 because you have to pull the handbrake and flick it in there. And our graphic is incorrect. Martel is not the points leader. It is Alex Abetti. Hopefully we can get that fixed. Apologies there. Bryan Sawyer's great at his job, but he also might have forgotten. Martel over-rotates a little bit there in the 12. I know we're focused on the 199 at Clog. We'll take a look at the end of the second lap. No Joker for Clog. And with Martel pulling away, I think he just has to focus on Ament here in the 6. But Martel resets fastest lap 40.541.
Yeah, Josh
graphic. Thank you, Bryan.
Josh Clog's just focusing on transferring through to the final right now, I believe, Josh. He was 3/10 off Martel the last lap.
Might have gotten a slowdown. If he didn't, that's going to be interesting. He was 4 to the right of the curb in turn 4.
Judging by how fast he was going through turn 6, I believe it is, I do not think he had a slowdown, Josh. Looks like he's going to pull a second on Clog this lap.
Cross flags halfway home in heat number 1. The sun
was
goes
over
behind the clouds.
1.2 seconds.
Wow. Track's going to get a little grippier. Interesting that they're running drivers right and going through the bumps. I ran drivers left yesterday. No spoilers of the lights race, but ran drivers left, and there was no bumps. So you compromise your entrance. He rips the curb. I'm so jealous of being able to perfect that line. And Clog has not jokered yet.
A lot of time, practice, but you also just have, like, you can do as much time in practice as you want. You need the precision as well as a driver, and Francois showing he has it.
We look at Ament now, Jake Robichaux in the 69. 2 laps to go for Francois Martel. No points last week because of that error.
That's something we aren't talking about that's big as well. Ripping that, I guess it's gravel, kind of, in turn 1. Getting that left rear tire up on the gravel, Josh.
Reminds me of the Las Vegas track that we used to race that was kind of basically the Coliseum. You'd rip a tire onto that banking and it would rotate the car. I found that would help yesterday, and it looks like it is helping today with these supercars.
I think it's more beneficial with the short wheelbase cars, but the Subarus still get the benefit from it as well.
As white flag for Francois Martel ahead of Josh Clog. Justin Ament looking poised to be on pole position for one of the semifinals this evening. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I'm surprised that Martel, and it's nothing against his driving, he's great, much faster than me in these cars, but I'm surprised he isn't getting slowdowns. I guess it just ties back to what you were saying. So much practice, you know what you can get away with in comparison to what the sim will give you. But that is a perfect line, unless...
Yeah, if you want a reference point, Josh,
slowdown,
actually, I'll tell you after the heat, as Francois Martel's about around the final corner for heat 1. But I'll tell you after the race what I think the slowdown is.
Checkered flag for Martel, tentatively. Bryan says he'll get a huge slowdown, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Clog finishes 2nd and transfers. Best of the rest, Justin Ament in 3rd. Our font's broken, the paint's broken. It's okay. Welcome to ASN. Confirmation, Martel, Clog, transfer. Best of the rest, Ament ahead of Robichaux and Dubois. And you were saying, Phil?
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's the case on a lot of iRacing tracks, it's usually the middle point of your car will determine if you have a slowdown. And it's weird in the Rallycross cars, because usually it's the middle left to right. I think in the Rallycross car through turn 4, it'd be the middle front to rear, just because how much the front's hanging over and the rear isn't. So if you see the middle of their car, or you think it's the middle of their car, it should be a slowdown.
Grid for Heat 2. Betty ahead of Crosgrove, Gay, Wetz, Sawers. Green flag. Matty Grove calling out some track limits. Betty gets a great start compared to Crosgrove and Benjamin Gay. Down to turn 1. Crosgrove gets the door slammed on him from Benjamin Gay in the 53. Clean for turn 1. Wetz alongside Sawers in the 365. And now Betty potentially can pull away, but Crosgrove has pace. Wetz runs it wide in the back of the field. But Crosgrove can't get stuck on Benjamin Gay here in the 53, Phil. Has to dispatch him quickly. Alex rips the curb and makes it stick.
So they're side by side.
Crosgrove nearly into Benjamin Gay. Wow.
Risky.
Jokering, exiting, no issue.
On the Joker Delta. It seems like it's about a 4 second to half a, 4 second, 4/10
like,
to half a second Joker Delta for the Joker
Phil?
jump. So if you're right up someone's rear bumper, it seems to be beneficial to take that Joker.
As Betty 43-0, Crosgrove 43-9, Benjamin Gay 44-8, Vincent Sawers 45-9, Chris Wetz 47-4.
You know one thing we haven't said about this heat, Josh? This has got to be one of the few heats I've seen in recent memory. There's only one Subaru on the grid.
Oh!
It's two bugs and two Fords. Two bugs, two Fords, and one Subaru.
Welcome to NASA Rallycross. Words are hard. But manufacturer diversity in this championship. Finally, we said that for so long, but here we are. Wetz took the spot from Vinny Sawers. Betty takes fastest lap in the 99. Maintaining one tire on the dirt, on the flat there, but it is beneficial to run that bank. And some of these guys are running drivers left, exiting the dirt there, so maybe just Francois knows something that we don't.
Oh, I mean, he was the fastest car in seating and in his heat, so I'm thinking you might be onto something here, Josh.
As Bryan Sawyer is wanting me to tell him what font we use in the middle of a broadcast, so if you can handle this for a little bit. Welcome to NASA Rallycross.
Lap 4 of 5. Sorry, lap 4 of 6 here in heat number 2 at Hell. Sorry, I have a bit of a headache. I'm feeling great. Everything's pretty calm right now. Betty took his Joker last lap. 39.5 for the tie driver. Compared to a 40.9 for Crosgrove behind. Obviously, that's a Joker Delta versus a non-Joker Delta, but it's an insane gap between those two, and everything's kind of calm right now. I think the last thing we're really looking for in this race is Benjamin Gay as he takes his Joker in 3rd place. I was going to say the last thing we're looking for is Benjamin Gay and what he'll do with his Joker strategy, because that could affect things as he's going to merge out about 9/10 to a second behind Cody Crosgrove. The fight's still there for the transfer spot between these two, but Wetz and Sawers, they're going to need some sort of incident as Benjamin Gay throws it in down the inside, turn 1 there. Just making his presence known to Cody Crosgrove in the 18.
As I'm back now that I had to do a mid-race font retrieval for Bryan Sawyer. And Betty pulling away half a second faster. I think you might have gone over that ahead of Crosgrove. Benjamin Gay trying very hard.
The one I won was a second and a half.
Very hard to try and get this transfer spot away from him as last lap for Betty. 40.4. Consistency is insane. 41-0, 41-0. So Crosgrove and Gay pretty equal on pace here.
Yeah, I was comparing it to Betty's Joker to Crosgrove's clean track. It was like a 39.5 and a 40.9, but consistent pace for Betty, but it's nothing compared to Francois Martel's pace in the first heat, Josh.
As it looks like Benjamin Gay might be on pole or the front row for the semifinal. We'll just have to wait and see. Betty up the hill
wide
on the final lap. Crosgrove ran it wide, but I still don't think there's going to be a battle. Betty, final corner. The tie driver will win heat number 2 in the 99. Ahead of Cody Crosgrove, who will transfer, defending sportsman champion. Benjamin Gay, best of the rest in the 53. To add insult to injury, Betty sets fastest lap on the last lap. Winning heat 2, Crosgrove transfers Gay, Wetz, Sawers to the semifinal as grid for heat number 3. Ragster ahead of Angie. So 2 Pudgy's cars in this race. Peterson, Rakowski, and Evan McFarland, the big storyline from qualifying, Phil, 5th. Back row of the grid.
And that'll be interesting with the turn 1 here, Josh, because you can't really go easy into turn 1 here. You chuck it in, at least if you're a Magnus Oakenhog type driver, you chuck it in there. We always see him ripping the handbrake for that Joker.
As another 6 laps, Joker once here in Norway. Just waiting for McFarland to get on track in the 0-4. And this is going to be tricky. We know Ragster's quick. We know Angie's quick. Russell Peterson quick as well. This is going to be a hard heat to try and get through, especially with the turn 1. If this was the normal track, make the Joker on the first lap, but everybody barrels into this first corner.
I'm interested to see what the dynamic's going to be between the Pudgy's cars, as McFarland missed the grid, Josh.
Oh, so McFarland to the semifinal. Angie backing up off the grid. Green flag in Norway. That benefited him. What a start compared to Ragster. Down to turn number 1. Angie clears Peterson. Clears Ragster. Ragster the inside of Peterson.
Peterson trying to go around
Ragster contact between them. They were clean. And now I'm agreeing with you, interested in the dynamic. Yes, we just started this heat race, but will there be team orders at Pudgy's with Ragster being in second in the Drivers' Championship? Runs it wide in turn 4. Peterson to the inside, rips the curb, tries to get the spot side by side. Evan McFarland says client has manually disconnected.
I wonder if he had a game crash, because I've been having a lot of those recently. As Peterson's applying massive pressure to Ragster, Josh, he was pushing him through the final quarter as we go on board with Ragster in second. Sorry, we go on board with Peterson in 3rd place.
End of the first lap. Angie leads ahead of Ragster, ahead of Peterson. Remember, Peterson had a heat race, had a transfer spot, I should say, in the bag until Cody Erdmann decided to drive into him in the final corner. As Cody's friend, I loved it. As the league runner, I hated it. But Peterson wants to try and get into a feature again, but these Pudgy's cars super quick.
Well, that looks like, I thought with how much that car rotated for Peterson, he was going to just fly over the curve and have a slowdown, but he gathered it up.
As Angie, Ragster, Peterson, Rakowski Jokers in the 999. She comes out still behind Peterson in the 59. Take a look at lap times. McFarland has connected, so you were probably correct there on a game crash. And just, that's going to be very hard to overcome for McFarland.
That's a last place seed for his LCQ
in the semifinal, yeah.
That's a shorter race.
5 laps Joker once. Speaking of racing, Steve Angie, 40.9 for Ragster.
Speaking of racing, Josh, Peterson and Rakowski battling for 3rd right now.
Peterson, 42.4. Rakowski, 41.4. The driver from Maryland trying to take the spot from Peterson from Illinois. And Peterson's going to Joker. Good move. But with no delta, or really no delta, Rakowski will get past. So I'd agree, probably half a second.
Yeah, Peterson's still holding on to that position for now, but looks like he's struggling a little bit to find consistency in the 59 car as bringing up that team orders debate again. Ragster's closing in on Steve Angie for the lead.
8/10 of a second. You're reading my mind. 8/10 faster than his teammate that last lap. They have not jokered, and we just took halfway crossed flags in heat number 3. Will we see a Joker rotation? No, we won't. Don't follow each other home. That's the... As a teammate, you never want to do that. I used to do that with you. I did that once, and I said never again.
Yeah, but as the team leader, you love it. Good propaganda.
So, 41.0 to a 40.6. Ragster's there. He's got 2 laps to go. Will we see a Joker rotation between the teammates, or will it be a formation finish? We kind of alluded to the
run from Angie out of turn 1. Sorry, Josh.
Battle for 3rd between Rakowski and Peterson.
Yeah, that was heating up.
Rakowski took the spot on Merritt, it looks like. We must have missed it because she took her Joker earlier. She took the spot in turn 4, so put Rakowski to 3rd. No Joker
between the leaders.
It is going to be a formation finish between these two, unless Angie's going to let him by that 1 point. You never know, and we talk about it a lot. That 1 point could potentially change stuff down the line.
Interesting. When I was mentioning the potential team dynamic, I was saying it with Evan McFarland in the race, but it's still going to come. It's still going to come to fruition potentially, just with these two kind of driving away from Rakowski in 3rd.
Rakowski holding 3rd. We talk about it all the time. If you finish best of the rest, you get one of the best grid spots in the semifinal. And will Peterson battle hard for this 3rd spot? Teammates are going to follow each other.
E3's a pole position for an LCQ.
The teammate's Joker, no contest. Rakowski runs it wide in turn 4, keeping an eye up front. Peterson trying to sneak in. Will he do the move that Erdmann did on Rakowski? Angie leads Ragster home in the heat race. And Peterson will not replicate what Rakowski's team owner Erdmann did last season. Rakowski will lead Peterson home. Angie and Ragster ahead of Rakowski, Peterson, and McFarland to the semifinal as grid for heat number 4. Magnus Okenhaug, Matt Hartley, Matt Morris, Matt Grove. It's the Matt trio there. I just realized both my cars are in this race.
This is going to get confusing, Josh. We got Matt, and Matt.
And Magnus. It's going to be interesting.
The battle of the M's.
So the 2 JC Simsport cars. We have one of the Squadra Stun Zed cars.
Oh, it does work on the broadcast. I thought it was going to be broken on there, too. You can see both of the JC Simsport cars. Nice.
Getting ready for heat number 4 here in Norway. Evan McFarland still having connection issues in the 04. Green flag. Hartley off the line, gets a better jump than Magnus in the 26. Down to turn number 1. Hartley closes the door on his teammate. Rounding turn 1, Grove checks Morris. The teammates are going to be side by side. Remember, this is Magnus's home track. Obviously Norwegian. I think he's about an hour from this track. He told me last week, when we were practicing, I've got over like thousands of laps at this track. I said, what? Are you kidding me? As let's see any Joker rotation. Magnus will. He will be the only car to Joker. Will he come out ahead of his teammate? And he takes the spot! Very clean for Magnus. I was very worried that the bowling ball would live up to fruition, but he takes the lead at the end of the first lap, Phil.
Yeah, I was going to say, Josh, how are you feeling about this as the team owner? Because Hartley was really aggressive cutting off Magnus in turn 1, and then Magnus was aggressive cutting off Hartley out of the Joker.
I told them to not crash each other. So
it's going to be shivering your timbers a little bit.
I'm trying so hard to not be super biased, but having 2 cars back on track, super fun. And we'll just have to see what happens with these guys throughout the evening. But Magnus pulling away from Hartley. Hartley Jokers in the 50.
Are we going to see a repeat of last lap?
Hartley, slower than his teammate, takes the second spot. These guys third and fourth in the championship. Magnus opened the door. We take the third lap.
And one's going to get interesting. Hartley takes the center line, I think.
Between these 2 cars. So tricky to get that
the rotation Magnus got. That is insane.
Pulls away from his teammate in car number 50. 2028 title rivals on the same team. I didn't know if this would be a good idea or not. But
I don't know if they thought it was a good idea or not.
Just have to wait and see. It's a repeat from so many races in that season. Matt Grove ahead of Matt Morris. Haven't missed anything in 3rd and 4th. Grove Jokers in the 472 ahead of Matt Morris in the 24. So the man from Pennsylvania sits in 3rd.
You were mentioning, Josh, Magnus said he's done thousands of laps around this track. That helps a lot more in a race scenario than it does in a qualifying scenario, at least I believe. Because you're able to just hit the same line over and over again, lap after lap. In quali, you can get lucky once, but in a race, you have to do it 6 times.
9/10 up, having some connection issues in the 26. He's 9/10 up on his teammate last lap. Matt Grove ran a 40.2, but that was with his Joker in the 472. Remember, the Sportsman Points leader, the man from Pennsylvania, had a couple of great weeks, the opening 2 weeks of the championship. We're going to come to 2 laps to go. Magnus still leads over Hartley. Morris Jokers, but he is nowhere close to Grove in the 472.
And this is going to be interesting for Grove, because finishing 3rd, that will guarantee him a front row start for his LCQ, but so far no Sportsman cars have made it through to the feature tonight, Josh, so it's going to be a battle for Sportsman in the LCQs for sure.
Thank you for keeping an eye on that, because I have not kept an eye on that at all, in the slightest. Just under 2 laps to go for Magnus Okenhaug ahead of Hartley, Grove, and Morris. As remember, Rakowski won Sportsman last week, and Grove won Sportsman in Scotland. But the so far, what we used to call the constructor cars, the manufacturer cars, now we just call the non-Sportsman drivers, as we take the white flag, they are holding 1st and 2nd in this heat race. 40.4, 40.6, 41.6. We ride on board our race leader, Magnus Okenhaug from Norway, who won here in 2020A. Won that race over Matt Hartley in what was then the 48 car.
Ooh, I thought he was going to get a slowdown there, Josh. You saw him turn out of it to the left really aggressively.
4-time race winner of the NASA Rallycross Challenge, Magnus Okenhauge, had 2-time race winner Matt Hartley. Looks like it's going to be a formation finish between these teammates in heat number 4. Magnus wins ahead of Hartley. Best of the rest, Matt Grove and Matt Morris.
We got Magnus.
As the graphic confirming those results. And trust me, they are not both privateers. Bryan Sawyer, we had a lot of work, and Bryan must have missed that. As semi-final A, getting ready to go.
Before you call the grid, Josh, something to follow. McFarland's still not back in the server. He connected, disconnected, dropped, connected, disconnected.
Ament, Rakowski, Robichaud, Peterson, Dubois. So I think Ament is not a sportsman car. I don't think Peterson is either. I'm looking at this. Ament is not. So we get ready
so it'll be Rakowski.
For semi-final A. Jumping the start slightly as Robichaud in the 69, green flag. Off the line. 4 make it basically 5 wide, down to the first corner. Ament will lead us ahead of Jake Robichaud in the 69. Robichaud goes to the inside. Here comes Peterson. Robichaud gets tagged by the 999 of Rakowski. Ament all over the track, but Peterson lets him gather it back up.
Ament!
And Ament misses the corner. Not sure what happened there. I'll have to take another look.
Rear just snapped on braking. He had too much rear brake pressure in it, Josh. It just went around.
So, Russell Peterson lead ahead of Jess Rakowski.
Graphic hasn't been updated, but there's only 1 car transferring through from this LCQ, Josh.
We do have only a 10-car feature here this evening. Dubois pushing hard to try and catch the 69 of Robichaud, but they have a lot of ground to make up on Russell Peterson, the only car who's going to transfer out of this race. Thank you, Bryan, for fixing that. Appreciate the live edits on our graphics as always.
Jake Robichaud's looking racy today, Josh. I know he's been caught up in a lot of incidents, but I haven't seen him this pacey in a while as he gives a check
on the brakes. And Rakowski saves it.
You think that helped Jess Rakowski at all? That was some speed, right? Some entry speed.
If Peterson makes this race, we have a battle for the sportsman between Rakowski and Robichaud, because I don't think, like you mentioned, there are any sportsman cars. Rakowski spins the car in the 999 and put Robichaud to second. And for the 3rd consecutive week, something goes wrong for Jess Rakowski in the 999. Russell Peterson resets fastest lap at a 41.959.
I'm blaming the commentator's curse on that one, Josh. As Justin Ament arrives on the scene for 2nd place. What the? Something just happened to Eric Dubois. He just shot out of turn 1 like a cannon. That was weird to watch.
There is a glitch with this track that we discovered, that you get sometimes a speed boost coming off of the first corner. So I'll say this publicly, battle for 3rd.
Dubois pushes him out of the way to take 3rd.
NASA Sim Racing is not going to race this layout again, and it's a shame because I like it, but can't be racing with a crazy glitch like that. 2 laps to go for Russell Peterson in the 59, getting redemption potentially. Anything can happen, usually does, like we say every week.
Joker, so it's about a 2-second effective lead over Jake Robichaud in 2nd place right now, as he it's a little bit feisty through turn 1, but he just needs to bring it home comfortably, Josh. He's got about a lap and a half to navigate around this track.
As Peterson, Robichaud, Dubois, Ament, Rakowski. What could have been for both Ament and Rakowski? Ament deep in the corner. He makes it stick on Eric Dubois. Peterson up front taking the white flag here, Phil.
And it's looking comfortable for Russell Peterson. It didn't show on the graphic, but Jake Robichaud also jokered last lap, so it is a 3-second lead for Russell Peterson. It was a 42.4 last time by, but he just needs to cruise it home in the 59 to take this spot in the feature.
As it looks as though whoever makes it, if the sportsman car makes the feature, they'll win by default, which is a great thing for them.
Not yet. We still got one more LCQ to go through.
As no, that's what I was mentioning. As depending on the 2nd semifinal, whoever makes it might have an uncontested race for sportsmen. As Russell Peterson through the dirt for the final time here in Norway, down the hill, back up the hill at turn number 7, and the man from Illinois will get redemption from last season. He transfers into the feature here in Norway. He will be our 9th seed this evening, ahead of Jake Robichaud, Justin Ament, Eric Dubois, and Jess Rakowski. Confirmation of those results, and Peterson sets the fastest lap at the end as we get ready for the second semi-final. Benjamin Gay, Matthew Grove,
Good luck, everybody.
Vinny Sowers, Matt Morris, Chris Wetz, Evan McFarland. This is all sportsman cars except for McFarland.
And McFarland's made it into the lobby. I don't know if he'll make it onto the grid, though, because he's been having issues left, right, and center in the 0-4.
We'll give a shout out to Matty Grove's kids, Riley and Lane, trying to have Root Dad on to get into the feature here this evening in Norway. Benjamin Gay on pole, Grove in the middle, Vinny Sowers on the outside. And if McFarland's
He's
on
gridded.
grid, will he make a 10th and final overall car, or will one of these sportsmen make
That's definitely
the
not what the
feature?
sportsman wanted to see.
But he's starting
We know the pace
sixth.
of the 0-4 as we build up to the 5 red lights.
5 laps, Joker lap once, and the winner transfers here in Norway. Green flag.
He's
Wetz
not
gets a great
moving.
start. McFarland isn't. He dropped out again. So one of these sportsman cars will make the feature and win the race.
No
Over a
Subarus.
No Subarus. And this is a battle for the sportsman win. Clean between these 5 cars. Down the hill to turn 4. Sowers got by Wetz for 3rd. Grove sits in 2nd. Benjamin Gay in the 53. Sowers deep on the brakes in the 365. And will we see Joker rotation? Matty Grove will. He's the only car to take to the Joker. Will he come out battling Benjamin Gay? Side by side, Grove does not take the spot. Rounding the final corner to complete the first lap, Phil, car length and a half. Maybe make it 2. Benjamin Gay holds the spot.
And that's going to be massive that he didn't get the spot on that rotation there. Because he took to the Joker and Benjamin Gay did not. So that's a free half second in Benjamin Gay's pocket that he knows he has over Matthew Grove. As long as he stays ahead of him, it's pretty much effective race win for Gay.
As wheel broke, GR, says Evan McFarland in the session chat. Gay misses the corner, so does Grove. Wetz
Neither of them
holds
get
the
it to the
spot
curb.
from Everybody missed the curb.
Benjamin
in
Gay
turn
Jokers.
4. Jokering is the 53. Will Grove come out?
I would have saved it. Matt Morris is going to Joker as well, and that should jump him by Vinny Sowers.
As Sowers trying to battle Morris. 3 laps to go. 4.
Chris
Benjamin
Wetz
Gay,
hasn't
the 53.
Jokered yet. That could get spicy.
And we have seen the man from Texas. Remember, 3rd all-time on the wins list. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Will he do his historic Joker on the last lap to potentially steal the spot away? We'll just have to wait and see.
Grove wide again, gets to the curb just about. It looks like Benjamin Gay did about the same line, so it's a net even between those two. Wetz is going to need a mistake from Gay for sure if he wants to have a chance, but he might be able to get to Grove.
In the 472.
Wetz looks like he spun in the 71.
Such a tricky corner to get right, because if you run it a pinch too wide, there's a bump on the dirt and it just sends you left. And I think that's what happened to Wetz.
I think it was when he got to the curb because he was still out there. It hitched his rear wheels in the air and shot him out sideways.
Benjamin Gay, 41.898. And I'll take your word for it that we don't have any sportsman cars in this race until the end of this one. So, Benjamin Gay trying to get his first sportsman win in NASA Rallycross. And unlike what I said with Jamison Huffman about a season ago, Benjamin Gay's still going to race to try and get more places in the champions, or in the race, I should say, not just park it. As a white flag for Benjamin Gay in the 53.
And this is going to be smooth sailing for Benjamin Gay right now in the 53. I mean, I guess it's not really smooth sailing. Nothing's smooth in Rallycross. It's quite bumpy, actually, with all the dirt. But, yeah, I'm looking comfortable in the 53. Matthew Grove, I think he'll be happy with the 2nd place in sportsman class, Josh.
If we look at the sportsman points, just real quick, I'll take a look off monitor. He's still going to come out ahead of Morris, Sowers, and Robichaux, and Benjamin Gay is 14 points down on him. So 2nd place is not a bad day in the office for Matty Grove, and that's how you win that
Wetz
championship.
and Morris as Benjamin Gay rounds the final corner to win LCQ2 and the sportsman class.
Winning sportsman for his first time in NASA Rallycross and the 2nd semifinal. Matty Grove comes home in 12th. Wetz 14th, 16th. Matty Morris. The grid is set. We're going to have a wonderful feature shortly. We're going to step aside, and be back here on ASN.
You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous.
With your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Side nearly 3 wide of Met and Palacio. Front bumper of a Betty down to turn 2. Clog takes the lead. Real still has him jokered inside. Clog on McKenna. Contact between them. We welcome you back to round number 239 of the championship overall. Round 3 of the 28th season of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge here in Norway. And the first round over after we hit 11 years. So thank you all for hanging out with us, whether it's been for one race or all of them. With Bryan, Sawyer in the production truck, 5-time series champion Philip Kraus next to me in the commentary box. My name is Josh Mertz, live on the Automotive Sports Network. Just a reminder, our series is brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, visit osscenter.com. Thank you so much to Rob Hartland, yet again, for your support of NASA Sim Racing. Our coverage tonight also brought to you by NordVPN. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA. Finally, our cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abetti. Phil, just under a minute and a half until we start gridding. Who do you think's good for the Norwegian Grand Prix?
It's hard to bet against Francois Martel today, I think, Josh. He's the only driver who's ever been in the 39-second bracket around here, at least at the NASA grid today. And I think the next quickest lap's like a 40.2. So we've got like 4/10 of pace if his heat pace carries over into the feature, and he's gridding first. That's the big one, really.
Especially with, like we mentioned earlier on, the way this track is compared to the regular Hell layout. Just a reminder, we are running what's called the short. I have no clue why they called it that. It's a longer track, I don't know. But the joker of the normal Hell circuit is turn 1. So we're going to have 10 cars barrel into turn 1. They're all going to be sideways. And hard hat. I haven't mentioned that in a while.
I've got my hazmat suit.
You have your... Why do you need a hazmat suit? There's no chemicals.
You mean there might be chemicals?
I guess you're right. Are you wearing nitriles? Nitriles, safety glasses, hard hat? Come on, dude. You're talking to me. I know all that stuff. What are you doing?
Oh, God. I'm scared.
Just under 20 seconds until warm-up ends. As, I don't think... Oh, I do have timing.
You haven't told us, Josh. You haven't told us who your pick to win is. You always ask me, but you never...
you start to ask me. So, let's take away my team cars. Remember, MRT, JC Simsport rebranded is back. Magnus looks good. I mean, he's raced here probably probably more laps than anybody, from what he told me. If you don't let me pick one of my cars, it's going to be
whoever you want.
Alex is quick, but Francois up. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's take a look at the grid for the Norwegian Grand Prix here in hell. On pole position, Francois Martel ahead of Alex Abedi, Steve Angie. Then it's Magnus Okenhaug, Josh Klug, Cody Crosgrove, Sabian Ragster, Matt Hartley, Russell Peterson, and Benjamin Gay, the only sportsman car in this race, wins his first race in sportsman, and certainly going to look for more. Thank you all for joining us to the Automotive Sports Network for the Norwegian Grand Prix in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Philip Cross alongside me. My name is Josh Mertz. Bryan Sawyer in the production truck. We've got 10 cars, 10 laps, 2 jokers, and calamity in this turn 1 is guaranteed as we get ready in Norway. Green flag in Norway, off the line, Francois gets smoked by Abedi, 3 wide with him, Klug and Magnus, down to turn 1, Angie on the outside, Klug gets hit by Magnus, contacted over as the defending champion, ahead of Angie, they're both into the wall, Hartley gets by Russell Peterson, Abedi, still leads with Francois in second, Magnus in third, Ragster fourth, fifth Hartley, sixth Crosgrove, seventh Peterson, eighth Gay, ninth Angie, and defending champion Klug, turtled in turn 1, Phil. Let's see if we'll have any jokers. Francois will take the joker. So does Magnus. So does Crosgrove. At the joker merge, will there be any contact? To the lead goes Francois. At the end of the first lap, Abedi hits first. Francois, there, and he takes the lead and holds it.
Side by side between these two in a turn 1. This is going to get spicy.
Abedi still obviously has his joker left. Will he take it or will he battle with Francois? Side by side of the former teammates in turn 1.
Watch for
Francois
Magnus. You know how aggressive he can be. Is he going to try? Yes, he did try to show the inside to Alex Abedi. He gave him a little bump through turn 2, Josh.
Down the hill through 3 into 4.
I think Abedi jokers this lap to try and... He's going to get a slowdown. That's a slowdown. That's a slowdown.
We'll have to wait and see. Jokering is Francois. Jokering is Magnus. Exiting the joker as Magnus takes the spot on Abedi. Another perfect move. Hartley comes out battling Ragster. He got door-bagged in the 50 against the 91. At the end of the second lap, Francois still leads. Side-by-side Crosgrove with Hartley. Peterson off the track in the 59 and Angie in the back of the field in 8th. Turn 1. Abedi takes the spot on Okenhaug.
He needs to joker, and he needs to joker fast, I think. Try and make up this time on Francois Martel, because we know Martel's the quickest car in the field. Abedi needs to use his joker delta and try and make sure he has the car ahead. As Martel rips it on the curb, gets massively sideways, and there goes Abedi.
Let's take a look on this merge. It's so hard to pass, except in the joker. Martel rounds the corner. Abedi closes the door and takes the lead.
I didn't expect it to be on the first rotation, Josh. I'm not going to lie to you, but that makes things even easier for Alex Abedi.
As remember,
he's got to get out of jail free card now.
2 jokers in NASA Rallycross. Martel is done with both of them. So is Magnus. Crosgrove over-under on Hartley in the 50 takes the spot. Ragster has spun from the 5th spot. He came together with Hartley.
Oh, that's going to be fun to look at after the race.
You can take a look at here. I'm just taking a look off monitor. They were side by side. They took the jump. Hartley bumped, came across. Ragster made contact with him, and the 91 in the back of the field.
I didn't expect Abedi to use his second joker so early, because he hasn't had the pace over Francois. I thought he was going to save that joker in case Francois got by him, and then just use the joker to jump back past him for free.
You take a look at Crosgrove and Hartley, fastest lap Francois, 40.148. Hartley enters turn 1. I cannot believe that line is not a slowdown for these guys. And I could side on Abedi here, Phil, because it's going to sound terrible. You take your second joker, contact with Crosgrove and Hartley.
Now, it looks like Crosgrove was able to gather it up, but he did lose 2 positions in the 18.
As Abedi could theoretically hold up Francois.
Angie's going to joker on Hartley, it looks like. But it says he's used both his jokers.
As Hartley trying to give the spot back, like we mentioned in the driver's briefing, but Crosgrove now behind Angie.
That's going to be hard to do, because he either has to let Angie by with, or he has to hope that Crosgrove's going to get by Angie.
Cross flags, halfway home in Norway. Abedi trying to pull away for a second consecutive victory, and Francois trying to recover from last week's shenanigans. Doesn't get a slowdown, and it's so hard to pass here.
I must be wrong on the slowdown here, Josh, because they're putting the middle of their car over that curb all the time. I don't know where the slowdown section is.
As As long as the front left is not over the line, says Bryan Sawyer. Russell Peterson off the track in the 59. What could have been for him? Looks like Ragster had some issues again at the bottom of the hill. I'm not sure if he's going to park or not. Benjamin Gay.
What happened to Russell Peterson? Did we miss that, Josh, or am I just...
I did miss that. If you want to take a look off monitor. Clog's back on track. He is in the 9th position. We're going to come to 3 laps to go here in Norway. Betty was a 10th down on Martel. Martel gets a better run through turn 4. I cannot believe how that is not a slowdown in the 12.
Okay, it looks like what happened with Russell Peterson was another turn 1 incident. Him with Benjamin Gay. Benjamin Gay just ran out on the inside, made contact with the 59, spun him around, and he just parked after that. Although it looks like he got beached because he was up on the mound a little bit, and then he just towed.
3 laps to go. Martel is there. He was a second faster than Betty that last lap. This is going to be a scintillating last couple of laps here, Phil.
That wasn't a great lap for Betty, a 41-1 for him. We know he has a lot more pace than that in the car, but Francois Martel, once again, unmatched in terms of speed today. 40.1 in the Fiesta. But it's so hard to pull a move off, Josh. Where's he going to do it if he does get there?
The only place you can really pass, I mean, turn 1 if you're really ballsy, but then turn 4.
That line he takes through the final corner, that's completely different to a Betty. That might give him an opportunity. He straddles that curve.
You get the line, or get the run down the hill to turn 4, and they miss the apex. That's the biggest thing, because with turn 1 being what would be the Joker, there's no opportunity there. It's such a hard track to pass on. Martel last lap was 2/10 down on a Betty.
We know these two used to be teammates. Would you rule out a bump and run?
Potentially. They know how he...
I bet he spins it!
Around in the 99! Contact with him and Martel. It puts Martel to the race lead ahead of Magnus.
Well, that flips the script. I don't know what else to say other than that. That flips the script. Right in the middle of saying, will he bump him? I mean, technically he did, but he was spun sideways.
White flag, and that's why words are hard. I couldn't even get the words out that I was trying to say. And Francois Martel back to the race lead, trying to make it 2 wins out of the last 3 races here in NASA Rallycross, and what could have been...
how easy it is to slip away, though. It could slip away for Francois Martel here in this last lap.
One
I think he's going to take
lap
a careful
left.
line, though.
Magnus searching for yet another victory. He hasn't won since Bark River. Francois does not somehow get a slowdown there. And up the hill, back down the hill. We didn't think that it was going to be him, but off the final corner, Francois Martel, win number 9 in the NASA Rallycross Challenge after he overcomes Alex Abetty spinning on the curb. Magnus comes home in second. Abetty recovers to third. Just off the podium, Matt Hartley in the 50 ahead of Cody Crosgrove. Steve Angie in the 6th spot. And it looks like Ragster got by Benjamin Gay, our sportsman winner. Ragster comes home in 7th. 8th Gay. Confirmation on those results. As Clog and Peterson, the remaining cars. That's not what we expected. I know we predicted Martel to win this race, but it looked...
the fashion I ever
It
thought
looked very sealed from Abetty, and...
anything can happen in NASA Rallycross, Josh, and we see it once again.
People wonder why I've said that for the last 11 years.
They call it hell for a reason, I guess, and it's bit Alex Abetty today.
Stage as well, but then you were
Some
catching me again. I just didn't know what to do, and I thought
communication.
We're just gonna have to let them sort it out. I'm really sorry.
Hartley and Crosgrove talking about their contact earlier. I can tell you guys, yes.
Oh, good, buddy.
I'll take a look. As Crosgrove not upset, which is good to see. What could have been for Clog if he didn't end up turtled in turn number 1?
And it's been,
wow.
It's something we haven't said too much, but it's been a dismal start to the season for the defending champion. I think he entered this round 8th in points or so, and things are not getting any brighter for him.
What I've noticed, we talk about, now we'll get to the interviews here shortly, we talk about how hard it is to defend as a champion in NASA Rallycross, and we talked about on NASCAR 2003, yeah, it was me, and it was Phil, and it was Cody, and there were 6 of us, but it was still super hard. Betty had the same issue last season with just terrible luck, and if I look at the championship table, I don't think there's been back-to-back. Back-to-back was Luke Kraus, and then before that, it was Sindre Silva.
Yeah.
And then
I
before
think
that, it
as
was
well,
you. But
I think as well, it's Rallycross has an inherent like I don't know how to word it right now. My brain's kind of fogged up, but like there's a lot more that can happen in a like 8
more
minute
jeopardy,
rally race.
more variables.
Yeah, more variables compared to like, for an example, an oval race. Usually, like the quickest driver in an oval race or a road race, it's like okay, they're gonna win. But quickest driver in a rallycross race, anything can happen at turn one. You could be the quickest car by 2 seconds a lap. You can still get bowled out of the way at turn one.
As I'll bring in our sportsman winner, Benjamin Gay, for our first interview. As Benjamin Gay, winning sportsman, uncontested, and finishing, I think, P8. Philip Kraus, all yours.
Howdy, Benjamin. You got a copy? How we doing?
Yeah, I'm there. Hi.
Yeah, nice to see you today, man. Unofficially, I think you were the only sportsman car in the race today. Josh thinks I might not be right, so I want to say unofficially this whole time. But yeah, sportsman winner today, P8. Seemed like you had pretty decent pace today as well. How was it out there for you? I know it's a little bit hectic on this hell track for sure, but how'd you see it?
Yeah, it was super fun actually. Last season, I debuted on week 2, and I had a pretty great week in hell on week 3. But I got spun, and I kept that clip. That clip is very dear to me. But yeah, I actually joined. I think Magnus twice this week for practice. It was the first time I practiced during the week, so I guess I'll try and do that again.
And as Josh was alluding to during the night, Magnus, he's turned a ton of laps here. This is one of his home tracks, so it's definitely a nice person to like build a marker off of because he's just turned so many laps here. He knows this track like the back of his hand, and that definitely played an additional help to you instead of like someone who maybe hadn't ran the track before driving with you.
Yeah, sure, and I find the track very fun. So I usually I prefer to do races during the other days, but this track is very fun. So I practice more, and I guess I maybe skip practice for next week because I want to work on my Washington Hill climb. So we'll see there in 2 weeks.
I can tell you, I'm going to interject really quickly. Unofficially, Washington's going to be removed, so I wouldn't spend the time practice. Yes,
right. I didn't
there was logistical reasons for everyone that is watching that races. Logistical reasons as to why we might not be able to race. We'll keep you posted. Sorry, Phil. Continue.
I just completely lost my train of thought, but yeah, but obviously tracks you like, you'll end up practicing more. And I think like even if you don't practice on tracks you like, usually at least for me, you end up being quicker on them. But maybe that's why you like them. I don't know.
Yeah.
At least I'm
Yeah,
like
maybe.
that. But yeah, great run today. Is there any partner sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank for this run today?
Not particularly. I want to thank you guys for the work you put in, and I want to say sorry to Josh Glog, who I spun on like the second lap. I was trying to be careful. My bad.
I don't think he'll be taking that too harshly because he didn't even make it past turn 1 on our screen. He was a turtle the whole time, so if you saw him after that, he was a lap down. But good job, man. Congratulations on P8, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again one of these weeks later in the season.
Thanks. See you guys.
So Alex is not here. It's kind of a conflict of interest, but Cody did it last week. Magnus Ogenhaug, I told you not to be a bowling ball, and you were not a bowling ball. Talk me through your race. Unless he's not here.
He might be hiding from you.
He's probably hiding from me.
He's scared of the team boss's wrath.
Yeah. No, me and Hartley just had a strategy to have a clean race in Heat 4 to get the easy transfer to the final. And then in the feature itself, just try to stay up on the inside, avoid any chaos. And then I just tried to follow Abedi and Martel because I knew they was gonna be faster than me, so I just tried to follow them and then try and follow their Joker strategies so I could like try and get involved in their battle. And then I think I managed to get past Abedi, then he got me back, and then he spun. So it wasn't really much happening in my point of view. It was just driving from start to finish. So but I'm just happy to give Josh a podium for his team on the debut. So
As I'll pull up the stat while Phil is interviewing Martel, so we'll have that stat once we're done. But I guess the one other question I have is, you were pretty solid in P3, but then Alex had that issue on the curb, and Martel hit him. What was your thoughts when you saw Alex spinning there in turn 4?
For me, like, first, what came up in my mind was like a free position, and I was hoping, like, I saw like Martel was really risking it on the curbs. I was just praying by my mind that he was going to slow down so I could benefit out of it, but it never happened. But like, it was supposed to be a P2, but I gladly take one extra position. So yeah.
And finally, before we let you go, and this is a terrible question for me to ask you, but is there anyone you'd like to thank for the result tonight?
Not that Josh guy. Don't say Josh.
Yeah, don't say me.
Okay, just say the man behind the commentator box.
Yeah, Bryan, good job.
But aside from that, good run, my friend, and we'll see you next week in Barcelona.
Yeah, see you then.
Last interview of the evening, Francois Martel, Philip Kraus, all yours.
Hello, Francois. How are we doing?
When I'm talking to you guys, I'm doing great.
Yeah, as we mentioned just at the start of the night, obviously last week was very unfortunate for you with.
You are talking, I cannot hear you.
All right, that is a bit of an issue. Josh, can you say something real quick, see if he can hear you instead?
You got me, Francois?
I don't think that is something on his end. That is total audio failure.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, he can hear me now. All right, but yeah, we were mentioning it at the start of the show today. Obviously, unfortunate run-in for you last week. Just a miscount of the Jokers that ruined that race for you. But excellent bounce back this week. It looked like he was going to be second to Alex for the longest time, but I don't want to say you got lucky, but you kind of got lucky with him spinning there with 2 to go. You definitely had the pace all week, but that start, the Subarus just shot off the line. I don't know if that's a thing for them, but yeah, how was your race? Talk us through it.
Yeah, I definitely got lucky. I'll say it honestly. Yeah, at the start it was super disconcerting to have Alex just rocket out of it and me doing a mistake. So after that, I was kind of bummed out. Just driving an okay pace, just to make sure that I don't crash and I have some points. And also I didn't want to tackle Alex. Yeah, I was super happy though when it ended, because honestly, like, I have a 25 points deficit, so that almost means that I need to to win almost all other races if I want to make up for my silly mistake. But yeah, honestly, it's one of those races that you love when you're close to another competitor. I hope we have like other races like this other than at this track, because honestly, that track is just kind of luck based, as we saw tonight. So I'm glad it's behind us.
It was mentioned during one of the heats, I think it was. Josh said it to me because I saw a car get boosted out of turn 1. I'm like, was that just me, or like what happened there? And he said that they found a bug during the lights. So we're not going to be going back to this version of Hell again, but I think we'll still be running the regular layout. But lucky news for you. It's not quite 25 points back on in, and you made up, it looks like, if I'm reading right, 8 points today on a Betty, and that puts you 15 back right now. So it's not quite you have to win every race, but if a Betty finishes P2 in all of them, you still gotta win at least the next 3 to draw even with him.
Yeah, it's gonna be super tough. I was super happy to see that I qualified ahead of Alex, because he's super fast. So it's gonna be exciting for the rest of the season. We've got a bunch of people that can win. Magnus was showing up 1 second behind us, so that was nerve-wracking too. So we're gonna have a great show, that's for sure.
And I say it every time I talk to you. Anybody you'd like to thank? I know what you're gonna say, but I like to hear it from your voice.
Yeah. Of course. Well, tonight I found a little bit of black magic in the setup. That's why I got the fastest time. So if you want to grab it, it's on Team Watson racing.com. My setup is there. Also, always, you guys are super great. My favorite thing on iRacing. You're awesome. And that's it.
As we get ready to close this out, and Philip Kraus, give me a final thought, and I'll button this all up nice and pretty.
Honestly, I don't know what to really think right now, but we're looking forward to more of the same next week when we go to Spain for sure, Josh, because honestly, we've said it a lot, but the European swing to the start of the season in NASA Rallycross is always more hectic than the North American swing. Just the tracks are tighter. There's more to the tracks, I think, and they're much more technical than their American counterparts. And since you mentioned about Washington, it'll be interesting to see if that round gets replaced, or if we're just going to be running a 9-round season. That'll be
it will be replaced. I just haven't figured out what track yet, so keep an eye on NASASimRacing.com for more information. Washington won't go away entirely. I think internally we've been discussing a post-season special event, which I should have done in the first place, but I'm stubborn and don't listen. Just ask my wife. So we'll take a look at the unofficial points exiting the Norwegian Grand Prix. Unofficially, on top of the table, Alex Abedi with 71 points. I don't know if that's right at all, because it says...
right outside of Magnus.
I was going to say, so Magnus is technically tied in second with Francois Martel. They have 56. Hartley with 51. Ragster with 50. The Sportsman Cup, Matt Grove gaining his lead. That looks like, what, is that 8 points, if I'm reading that correctly? Ahead of Benjamin Gay, so he will hold the blue plate going into next week in Spain. I'm going to assume that Pudgy's Racing, without having points in front of me, will hold that championship. And Subaru might have a little bit of a challenge from Ford. They might have clawed a couple of points back. A couple programming notes on the Automotive Sports Network before we say goodnight. The Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge has another test this Thursday, July 6th. You can join us, NASASimRacing.com. The season begins July 13th on the Automotive Sports Network. You'll have myself. I am definitely not reading old notes. Next week, the season begins. RX Lights, NASA Rallycross Lights, round 3 from Norway. You'll see that race on Friday on ASN On Demand. And round 4 of the Overwatch Special Release Service NASA Rallycross Challenge from Barcelona, Spain, next Monday, the 10th of July. Just a reminder, our series is brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, visit osscenter.com. Thank you so much to Rob Hartland for your continued support. Our coverage tonight also brought to you by NordVPN for up to 63% off a 2-year plan. Visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA. Our cameras for the entire season provided by TrackCams22.com. And our intro music was produced by NASA Rallycross's very own Alex Abedi. Phil, I think I already got your final thought, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
it's been a long day. My brain's barely working. So I think we're going to call it an evening as the checkered flag has fallen. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, Philip Kraus, Cody Erdmann, and Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz, as we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge tonight from Norway. Congratulations to Francois Martel, and be sure to join us Friday evening for lights. But until then, so long, everyone.